Hi everybody, this workout segment is strength and conditioning supersets using some dumbbells. So what I'd like you to do is grab yourself a pair of heavy dumbbells and also a pair of light dumbbells to get through this workout. Alright, using our bench and no dumbbells, so purely your body weight for this particular superset, we're going to work some bench push-ups and then we're going to combine them with some triceps dips. So starting with the bench push-ups, just make sure your arms are comfortable, make sure that your spine is nice and neutral and that you're keeping your core line. So you've got to make sure that you've got a straight line from your shoulder all the way to your ankle. We're going to drop nice and deep into these push-ups because they're easier than a prone push-up on the floor because of the elevated hand position. Then we're going to switch it up and work our triceps dips. Now, you want to make sure that with this one, you've got your butt pretty close to your bench so that you're not putting excessive amounts of pressure on your rotator cuffs. And then you want to try and pull down as far as you can. So really try and hit 90 degrees of elbow angle with this one if you can. And then go all the way back up. Now you can see I've got my feet flat on the floor for this one. So you can actually push off your feet a little bit and get some assistance if you need it. Your turn to try this superset. Neutral grip press combined with some skull crushers for this exercise. So starting with your neutral grip press, you want to make sure that you're pressing the dumbbells together, and then as you're dropping down into the bottom half of that chest press, you've got to make sure that your elbows are tucked in by your ribs and they're staying nice and tight. For this exercise, I am lifting my head to further engage my abs and to make sure that my lower back is pinned against the bench. Now you could do this with your head lifted, or if you prefer having your head rested on the bench, that's okay as well, as long as your lower back is pinned against the bench. Then we're going to change it up and just grab one of the dumbbells with that eyelet grip and working some skull crushers from here. So the important thing here is to make sure you minimize any movement in your elbow. So we don't want too much of the arm swinging back and forth. You want to extend until your arms are soft straight and then drop it about 90 degrees of angle so that your triceps are nice and active, and then continue your set that way. Your turn to try this superset. narrow grip push-up and triceps kickback combination for this exercise. So starting with neutral hands, you want to make sure that you've got a nice tight grip, keep them close together, and then drop into those push-ups with your elbows by your ribs. So this is really going to emphasize your triceps and also the middle of your chest as well. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to stand up, bend over, keep your knees bent, keep your spine neutral, and work some triceps kickbacks. Now, when you do the triceps kickback, it's very important to make sure there's no movement in your elbows. So once you lift into the right position, your elbows no longer move from there. They basically stay glued by your side, and then it's your lower arm doing the entire technique, extending all the way until your arm's off straight, and then dropping it back down into that comfortable position at the bottom. Your turn to try this combination. For this superset, we're combining triceps overhead extensions with alternate biceps curls. So starting with the extensions, press both the dumbbells together and then have them over your head with a vertical arm position to start with. And then we're going to bend back until both the dumbbells are behind your head and you've created 90 degrees of angle with your elbows, and then pushing back up into a straight arm position again. Now make sure that your knees are slightly bent so that you're protecting your lower back, and just make sure you've got a comfortable stance for this one. Then we're going to move to some alternate biceps curls. So doing one arm at a time, starting with neutral hands and then supinating your arm up, so creating that 90-degree inward angle to really hit the peak of the biceps as you pull them in. Your turn to try this superset. bent over row and double biceps curl combination for this exercise. So starting with your bent over row, make sure you're leaning forward with your knees bent and your spine neutral. And then when we're lifting, we're making sure that our elbows are staying tucked in by our ribs. Make sure your tailbone is pushing out slightly and you're keeping a neutral spine. We want to make sure that we're not putting any pressure on our lower back for this exercise. And then we're going to switch it up and work some double biceps curls. So again, starting with your knees slightly bent, your back protected, and then there's no movement in the elbows as you go up into those biceps curls. So you want to try and maintain your elbows by your ribs as well as you can. Now you can see when I'm lifting up into the biceps curls, there's a 90-degree twist. So you want to make sure that you're getting that supinated hand position so that you're really hitting the peak of the biceps. Your turn to try this combination for yourself. Single arm row and biceps preacher combination for this exercise. So starting with your single arm row, you can see that I've got one hand and one knee supported on the bench, and then I'm lifting the weight straight up with my elbow tucked in by my ribs until the weight gets to my ribs and then releasing nice and steady. We're going to combine this with some biceps preacher curls. So using your opposite arm for support, just locking your elbow into the back of your hand, and then you're essentially pushing off that hand and hitting those curls from there. So this will give you a good bit of support, and it should do a good job isolating your biceps and your forearms. We're going to try this combination on both sides. So hit your row, and then using the same side, go into your biceps curl, and then we're going to change it and do the other side as well. great biceps burner for this combination, guys. So we're working some concentration curls and then we're adding some pistol rows to it. Start your concentration curls with one side. Make sure that the back of your arm, your tricep, is rested inside of your leg, and then we're basically just pulling up. Now, the mistake a lot of people make with this is they rest their elbows on top of their thigh. It shouldn't be on top of it. It should be just pressing against it. And this is just to prevent your elbow from moving as you're pulling the curl up. We're going to hit one side and then we're going to hit the other side before changing to your pistol rows. When you do your pistol rows, make sure you start with fairly lengthy legs. Now you're bending forward with your knees bent and a neutral spine. And then we're pulling the rows into our chest fairly rapidly, and we're making sure that we're keeping the elbows tucked in. So as you start to do a bunch of these, you're going to feel those biceps really start to burn up. Your turn to have a go at this superset. Well done for getting through today's workout. Be sure to spend a few minutes stretching and cooling your body back down. Comment and let us know what you thought of today's workout, and be sure to tune in tomorrow to progress through to the next workout. See you soon.